Imagine a world where dinosaurs didn't just roam the Earth, but instead they ventured far beyond into the cosmos. Picture the terrifying Tyrannosaurus rex, usually confined to the ancient landscapes of the Mesozoic era, now roaming alien worlds under the light of distant stars. It's a fascinating thought that sparks curiosity, and the question, could dinosaurs have lived on other planets? What would it look like if they did? Before we dive deeper, it's important to think about how the conditions for life might differ on other planets compared to Earth. On Earth, dinosaurs thrived because of specific conditions that supported their growth and survival. They lived during the Mesozoic era, from around 230 million years ago to 65 million years ago. The climate during that time was warm, and the continents were arranged differently, making for a more stable environment for these massive creatures. But if dinosaurs lived on another planet, what would be the key factors for their survival? Could they adapt to harsh conditions? Would they have to evolve into something entirely different, given the unknown environments? To imagine what it would be like for dinosaurs to live on other planets, we'd have to consider a few important details. First, any planet capable of supporting life would need liquid water, just like Earth. Water is essential to the development of complex life. Without it, it's hard to imagine any living thing, let alone dinosaurs, surviving. In addition to water, the atmosphere would need to be suitable for breathing. Too much carbon dioxide or not enough oxygen could prevent life from taking hold. Even more important would be the presence of essential minerals and nutrients that dinosaurs needed to grow to massive sizes. If these conditions were met, the possibility of life, including dinosaur-like creatures, could exist on other planets. However, the real question is not just about survival, but about evolution. How would life on another planet evolve compared to Earth? The conditions of a planet play a huge role in determining the traits and behaviors of the creatures that live there. On Earth, dinosaurs evolved into a variety of shapes and sizes. Some, like the massive Brachiosaurus, grew to heights that allowed them to reach the tops of the tallest trees, while others, like the carnivorous velociraptor, adapted to fast movements and hunting in packs. On another planet, we might see similar adaptations, but they could be influenced by factors like gravity, temperature, and the type of food available. In a low-gravity environment, for example, dinosaurs might grow even larger, or their body structures might differ entirely. Now, let's think about the types of planets that could support these creatures. There are a few key characteristics we need to consider, such as the planet's distance from its star, its atmosphere, and its overall climate. Scientists have discovered planets in the habitable zone of their stars, where conditions might be just right for liquid water to exist, and these exoplanets, some of which are in the Milky Way galaxy, are similar in size and temperature to Earth and could potentially host life. If dinosaurs lived on such planets, they might look very different from the ones we know. Instead of the familiar earthly forms we picture in movies and documentaries, these alien dinosaurs might have evolved to suit the particular conditions of their home planet. If dinosaurs did live on another planet, it would completely change our understanding of evolution and the possibility of life beyond Earth. The discovery of life forms elsewhere in the universe could show that life doesn't have to be unique to Earth. It would raise profound questions. Could these extraterrestrial creatures have gone through their own version of the mass extinction event that wiped out Earth's dinosaurs? Would they have thrived in a way Earth's dinosaurs couldn't, adapting to their planet's challenges? These are just some of the questions we'll explore as we continue to think about the possibility of dinosaurs in space. In exploring the idea of dinosaurs living on other planets, we have to consider the scientific theories and factors that could make such a possibility a reality. We've already touched on the conditions that would need to be met, like the presence of water and a breathable atmosphere. But there are other aspects of space and planetary science that come into play when considering life beyond Earth. Let's dive deeper into the scientific possibilities and theories about how dinosaurs or similar creatures could have existed on other planets. One of the most exciting theories to consider is the idea of panspermia. This concept suggests that life on Earth and potentially on other planets could have been seeded by space debris such as comets or asteroids. Imagine if long ago a comet carrying the building blocks of life, organic molecules like amino acids, crashed onto Earth. Over time, these molecules could have combined to form life. This process might not have happened only on Earth. If asteroids or comets containing these life-forming compounds collided with other planets, there's a chance that life could have started elsewhere too. But let's think bigger. What if these cosmic travelers carried dinosaur DNA or the genetic material of creatures similar to dinosaurs? While there's no direct evidence to support this idea yet, some studies have suggested that it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. On other planets, if conditions allowed, these DNA-like molecules could have been triggered to form complex organisms. The concept of life being transported across the cosmos isn't something purely confined to science fiction anymore. As we learn more about astrobiology, we start to realize how much of our understanding of life could apply to other planets too. Now let's take a look at the search for exoplanets, planets outside of our solar system that could potentially support life. There have been thousands of exoplanets discovered in recent years, some of which lie in the habitable zone of their stars. This zone is the distance from a star where conditions might allow liquid water to exist, one of the key ingredients for life. For example, Kepler 452b, an exoplanet discovered in 2015, is often referred to as Earth's cousin because it orbits a star similar to our Sun and is roughly the same size as Earth. It's not hard to imagine that under the right conditions, life could thrive there, perhaps even in forms we couldn't predict, like dinosaur-like creatures. However, there's another interesting concept to consider: the idea of life forms evolving differently depending on the environment. Take gravity, for example. On a planet with weaker gravity than Earth's, dinosaurs or similar species might evolve to be much larger, since the force that keeps them grounded would be much lower. This could lead to the rise of enormous creatures far beyond what we saw on Earth, with massive herbivores towering over vast alien landscapes. On the other hand, a planet with higher gravity might encourage creatures that are more compact and sturdy, adapted to handle the extra pull of gravity. These evolutionary differences would challenge everything we know about dinosaur biology. But what would life on such a planet actually look like? Imagine a landscape where the air is thick, with a different mixture of gases, or a world where the sky is tinted a strange shade of green due to a different atmosphere. If dinosaurs evolved on such a world, they might look very different from their Earth counterparts, but still share similarities in terms of basic anatomy. Instead of towering brachiosauruses or swift velociraptors, we might see completely new species, possibly with alien features, like multiple eyes or strange appendages designed to help them adapt to their environment. The possibilities are endless when we consider how life could evolve under different planetary conditions. The more we look into the idea of extraterrestrial dinosaurs, the more we realize just how little we know about the universe and the potential for life beyond our planet. While we don't have concrete evidence of dinosaurs or similar creatures on other planets just yet, the exploration of other worlds through telescopes, spacecraft, and scientific research continues to open up new possibilities. As we learn more about the conditions on exoplanets, we also get closer to answering the age-old question of whether we are truly alone in the universe. The possibility of dinosaurs living on other planets, though hypothetical, challenges our understanding of life, evolution, and the cosmos itself. Could life forms similar to dinosaurs have evolved elsewhere? Could they be thriving on planets we haven't discovered yet? These are questions that may one day be answered, but for now, they remain part of the ever-expanding mystery of the universe. As we continue to look to the stars and study the many planets that exist beyond our solar system, we may one day find evidence that life, including dinosaur-like creatures, could have been more widespread than we ever imagined. As we continue exploring the idea of dinosaurs living on other planets, we must consider the potential challenges and implications of discovering life beyond Earth, especially if it turns out that creatures resembling dinosaurs existed elsewhere in the cosmos. So far, we've discussed the conditions needed for life to thrive on exoplanets, as well as the exciting theories that suggest life might have originated from space. But let's now take a closer look at the practical aspects of how we might one day uncover evidence of extraterrestrial dinosaurs and the larger questions this discovery could raise. One of the key aspects of exploring other planets and searching for life is the technology and methods that we currently use to detect exoplanets. The search for planets that could support life, including the possibility of life similar to dinosaurs, has been revolutionized by space telescopes like Kepler, which has identified thousands of exoplanets in the habitable zone of distant stars. However, the discovery of life, especially complex multicellular organisms like dinosaurs, would be a whole different challenge. To detect life on exoplanets, we rely on studying the atmospheres of these planets, looking for signs of gases that could indicate biological processes such as oxygen, methane, or even more complex molecules like chlorophyll. While these gases can be indicators of life, there's still much more we need to understand. If we ever detect a planet with conditions that seem conducive to life, water, a stable atmosphere, and the right temperature, how would we determine if dinosaur-like creatures existed there? Unlike microbial life, which could be detected by analyzing chemical signatures in the atmosphere, finding evidence of large, complex organisms like dinosaurs would be much more difficult. Scientists might look for fossils or physical structures that suggest the existence of life forms, but this could take years or even centuries of space exploration. After all, finding fossils on Earth takes time and effort, and to find them on another planet would require extraordinary tools and the ability to send probes and possibly even humans to distant worlds. What if we discovered life forms that were completely different from anything we could imagine? While it's fun to speculate about dinosaur-like creatures, we can't ignore the possibility that alien life might look and behave in ways we can't predict. Evolution on other planets may have led to beings that resemble dinosaurs in some ways, large, powerful, and perhaps reptilian, but they might also be entirely different in shape, behavior, or even in their understanding of their environment. This is where our imagination starts to run wild. If we did find evidence of alien creatures, they might not be the types of creatures that we'd recognize as dinosaurs, but they might still fit the role of massive dominant creatures in their ecosystems. The idea of extraterrestrial dinosaurs also raises interesting ethical and philosophical questions. If we discovered such creatures, would we be tempted to make contact, or would we simply observe them from a distance? For instance, if we detected intelligent dinosaur-like beings on another planet, would we treat them as we do endangered species on Earth, studying them carefully without interfering? Or would we go further and try to communicate with them? There are many unknowns when it comes to the ethics of making contact with alien life forms, especially if they share some of the characteristics of Earth's most fascinating creatures. And let's not forget about the potential impact on our understanding of evolution. The idea that dinosaurs, or life forms with similar characteristics, could have evolved on another planet challenges everything we know about the development of life. On Earth, dinosaurs evolved over millions of years, and their extinction, caused by an asteroid impact about 66 million years ago, marked a dramatic turning point in the history of life on our planet. If similar creatures were able to evolve and thrive on other planets, we would need to rethink the entire process of evolution and how life adapts to the various conditions of its environment. Could there be different evolutionary paths that led to creatures with similar traits like large sizes, reptilian skin, and a carnivorous nature on another planet? The concept would completely alter our understanding of what is possible in the universe. The more we learn about the universe and the potential for life to exist elsewhere, the more we realize that there are far more possibilities than we ever imagined. The idea of dinosaurs living on other planets may remain hypothetical for now, but it's a concept that encourages us to think big and dream of what might be out there. Whether or not we ever find evidence of extraterrestrial dinosaurs, the pursuit of understanding life beyond Earth is one of the most exciting frontiers of modern science. As we continue to study exoplanets, explore the cosmos, and refine our technology, we may one day unlock the mysteries of distant worlds. It might be a long time before we find definitive evidence of dinosaurs or life forms similar to them on other planets. But as we look to the stars, we can't help but wonder, what if dinosaurs or creatures like them truly do exist somewhere out there? The search for life beyond Earth is a journey that will continue to spark our curiosity and imagination, and who knows what discoveries the future holds. In this final part, let's dive into the broader implications of our exploration, into the idea of dinosaurs living on other planets, and why it has captured the imagination of so many. While we've already covered a lot about the scientific possibilities, the theoretical aspects, and the tools that could help us find evidence of extraterrestrial life, it's worth considering the philosophical and cultural impact such a discovery would have on humanity. First, let's think about how discovering extraterrestrial dinosaurs, real or theoretical, could change the way we view life on Earth. For centuries, humans have looked to the stars, pondering whether we are alone in the universe. If we were to discover life beyond Earth, especially life forms that resemble Earth's ancient creatures like dinosaurs, it would dramatically shift our understanding of what life is and where it can exist. Imagine the sense of wonder and awe that would come from realizing that life, in some form, is a universal phenomenon, possibly following similar evolutionary paths as we've seen here on our own planet. However, it's not just about the scientific impact, the discovery of dinosaurs, or life forms similar to them on other planets. would also likely spark a global conversation on ethics, space exploration, and our place in the cosmos. For instance, would we feel a sense of responsibility toward these creatures? Would we try to study them up close, or would we be cautious about disturbing their ecosystems? Just like how conservationists protect endangered species on Earth, we may find ourselves grappling with similar ethical considerations if we encounter intelligent or complex life on distant planets. Another fascinating thought is how the discovery of dinosaurs on another planet would reshape our understanding of extinction and resilience. Dinosaurs, as we know, faced an extinction event about 66 million years ago due to an asteroid impact, which wiped out not just the dinosaurs but a large portion of life on Earth. If similar species survived on other planets, we'd have to reconsider the factors that contribute to extinction events. Maybe these extraterrestrial dinosaurs lived through cosmic disasters, survived extreme climates, or found a way to adapt in ways Earth's dinosaurs didn't. This would open a whole new area of research into how life can persevere, even in the most hostile conditions, and might lead to breakthroughs in understanding how to protect life here on Earth. Exploring the idea of dinosaurs in space also helps us recognize just how far we've come in understanding our universe and how much more there is to discover. While we currently have no direct evidence of extraterrestrial life, let alone dinosaurs, the search for exoplanets that could harbor life has led to incredible advancements in space science. With missions to Mars, the study of moons like Europa and Enceladus, and the launch of new space telescopes, we are on the brink of potentially answering some of humanity's oldest questions. And as we expand our understanding of the universe, we also begin to realize how interconnected life is, how evolution has shaped the creatures we know, and how life on other planets might have followed its own path to create entirely unique organisms. As we imagine the possibility of dinosaurs on distant worlds, we also recognize that the search for extraterrestrial life is more than just about finding aliens. It's about understanding the conditions necessary for life to flourish. The study of planets like Kepler 452b, which is similar to Earth in terms of its size and its orbit around a star, has made us realize that life could thrive in many places across the universe, and the idea that such life could be similar to the creatures we once shared Earth with only adds another layer of fascination to the ongoing search. It's not just about looking for life, but understanding how life could evolve, survive, and adapt to different environments, just as dinosaurs did on Earth millions of years ago. In the end, whether or not dinosaurs ever lived on another planet remains a mystery, but the thought of it adds a new dimension to our exploration of space and the nature of life itself. The idea forces us to think outside the box, challenging us to consider new possibilities, theories, and approaches to life beyond Earth. While we don't yet have the answers, the search continues, and the excitement of potentially discovering life elsewhere in the universe, perhaps in the form of extraterrestrial dinosaurs, is a thought that will undoubtedly keep scientists, researchers, and dreamers wondering what might be out there. As we wrap up this journey into the wild idea of dinosaurs living on other planets, it's clear that the exploration of space is far from over. The possibilities are endless, and who knows, maybe one day we'll have the answer to this tantalizing question. Until then, we can keep imagining and wondering what mysteries lie in the vast expanse of the universe. Thank you for joining me on this adventure into the unknown. And if you've got your own thoughts or ideas about extraterrestrial life or dinosaurs in space, feel free to share them in the comments below. Imagine stepping outside your home and seeing a towering brachiosaurus grazing on treetops, or hearing the distant roar of a Tyrannosaurus Rex echoing through the landscape. If dinosaurs had never gone extinct, the world would be a completely different place, one where humans may not even exist. The asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs around 66 million years ago changed the course of history, shaping the planet into the one we know today. But what if that impact never happened? What if the dinosaurs had survived and continued to evolve alongside other species? For starters, the planet itself would look very different. Without the mass extinction event, mammals might never have had the opportunity to take over as the dominant life forms. During the time of the dinosaurs, mammals were small, burrowing creatures, often forced to hide from much larger predators. But after the dinosaurs disappeared, mammals rapidly diversified and took advantage of the open ecological niches. Without that opportunity, primates, including our earliest ancestors, might never have evolved. That raises a big question. Would humans even exist in a world where dinosaurs still roamed? Even if some form of intelligent life had developed, the ecosystems we know today would have been shaped in a completely different way. Large herbivorous dinosaurs like Triceratops and Diplodocus would have continued to dominate forests and plains, preventing the spread of large mammals. Apex predators like Allosaurus and Giganotosaurus would have ruled the food chain, making survival incredibly difficult for any smaller species trying to climb the evolutionary ladder. Another key factor to consider is climate. The asteroid impact and its aftermath caused massive climate shifts, cooling the planet and making it inhospitable for dinosaurs. If they had survived, Earth's climate might have remained much warmer for longer periods, which would have dramatically changed the types of plants and animals that could thrive. We might have had a planet covered in dense tropical forests, where massive dinosaurs still roamed freely rather than the more temperate environments we see today. Dinosaurs were already highly adaptable creatures, and if they had continued to evolve, it's possible that some could have developed advanced behaviors, possibly even intelligence. Some scientists believe that smaller bird-like dinosaurs like Troodon were already showing signs of higher brain function before the mass extinction event. Given millions more years of evolution, could they have developed tool use, communication, or even civilization? It's impossible to know for sure, but it's fascinating to think about. One thing is certain, our world would be unrecognizable. The landscapes, the animals, and even the fundamental balance of life on Earth would have been shaped by creatures that once ruled the planet. In the next part, we'll explore what kind of impact dinosaurs would have had on modern ecosystems, and whether humans and dinosaurs could have ever coexisted. Let's imagine a world where dinosaurs never went extinct. Picture yourself walking through a park and spotting a herd of Stegosaurus grazing nearby. In this world, humans and dinosaurs might share the planet, but how would they coexist? The first thing that comes to mind is how dinosaurs would fit into our modern ecosystems. Would they adapt to the urban environments we've built, or would they stay in more natural habitats, perhaps even evolving to thrive in the forests and plains where they once lived? Dinosaurs were incredibly adaptable creatures, so it's likely that they would have evolved to occupy different niches within ecosystems. Herbivores, like the long-necked Brachiosaurus and the massive Iguanodon, would continue to shape plant life by feeding on trees and shrubs, maintaining the balance of vegetation in much the same way modern herbivores do. In fact, their size and feeding habits could have shaped forests, preventing certain types of plants from overtaking others. Larger herbivores might even have formed migratory patterns similar to those of modern-day elephants or wildebeests, helping maintain the health of entire ecosystems. As for the carnivores, it's possible that apex predators like the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex or the swift velociraptor would continue to regulate the populations of other animals, just like modern predators do today. With their sharp teeth, claws, and hunting strategies, these dinosaurs would have continued to dominate their respective territories, controlling the balance between predator and prey. But how would this affect the development of other species, including mammals? If dinosaurs remained the dominant predators, mammals would have had to evolve in very specific ways to avoid extinction. Smaller mammals might have remained nocturnal, hiding away from the larger predators during the day. Larger mammals could have become more elusive or adapted to live in more remote environments where dinosaurs weren't as common. It's also possible that some mammals could have evolved to become prey for the dinosaurs, much like how we see herbivorous mammals being hunted by big cats today. But humans, with our large brains and problem-solving abilities, might have found ways to survive alongside these giant creatures. In this world, it's fascinating to think about how dinosaurs could have adapted to living in cities. Imagine large herbivores roaming city parks, or perhaps even smaller species that could live alongside us in urban areas. Could humans have found ways to domesticate certain dinosaurs? After all, we've successfully tamed and trained animals like horses, dogs, and even elephants. It's not too far-fetched to imagine a world where humans might have ridden on the backs of Triceratops or used velociraptors for hunting. In a sense, we could have lived with dinosaurs much like we do with animals today. But coexistence wouldn't come without its challenges. It's likely that the larger, more dangerous carnivores would have posed a significant threat to human populations. Imagine a world where cities are built with massive reinforced walls to keep out dinosaurs, or where humans have to constantly be on the lookout for predators in the streets. Some cities might even have built giant enclosures to house the herbivores, much like modern zoos do today. The question remains, would we have found a way to live in harmony with these creatures, or would conflict have been inevitable? One thing's for sure. If dinosaurs had never gone extinct, the balance of life on Earth would be completely different. Humans and dinosaurs would have had to find a way to share the planet, and it's impossible to know whether they would have coexisted peacefully or whether we would have fought for dominance. But as we dive deeper into the what if, we must consider how humans and dinosaurs could have evolved together, learning from each other and perhaps even influencing one another in unexpected ways. Now let's dive into the even more fascinating possibility. How might dinosaurs have evolved over time had they never gone extinct? If they had continued to live alongside mammals and humans, their evolution would have been influenced by the same factors that affect species today: competition for food, environmental changes, and survival of the fittest. Over millions of years, we could imagine that dinosaurs would have evolved to occupy entirely new ecological niches, and possibly even develop traits that would allow them to thrive in different environments. Take the herbivorous dinosaurs, for example. Species like the Triceratops and Stegosaurus were already well adapted to their environments, but with changing climates and shifting landscapes, they could have evolved into new forms. Perhaps their horns and armor could have become even more specialized to fend off predators or to compete for food. It's also possible that herbivores would have adapted to the changing plant life on Earth. If we consider how modern animals evolve in response to climate change or habitat loss, dinosaurs might have developed new strategies for survival. Maybe they would have been more social, forming herds that would work together to protect against the growing threat of predators. Or perhaps some species would have adapted to more specialized diets, consuming plants that only grow in specific regions. On the flip side, carnivores would have been even more intriguing. Imagine the evolution of apex predators like the Tyrannosaurus rex. Over time, they might have become even more refined in their hunting tactics, possibly developing better teamwork or hunting strategies, much like the wolves do today. Their size and strength would have continued to make them formidable, but as their environment and prey evolved, so would their hunting methods. It's also possible that some species of carnivores might have become more solitary or more social, depending on their environment and available resources. Carnivores might have also adapted to living in different regions, perhaps evolving to thrive in dense jungles, mountain ranges, or even more urban environments. But the most exciting part of this scenario lies in the potential for some dinosaurs to evolve higher levels of intelligence. While dinosaurs are typically thought of as instinct-driven beasts, some species may have developed increasingly sophisticated behaviors over time. We already know that some dinosaurs, like the Troodon, had relatively large brains for their size. What if they had evolved even further, developing advanced problem-solving skills, social structures, or even communication methods? It's possible that they could have developed their own forms of technology or culture. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, they might have eventually built their own civilizations or established advanced societies that rivaled early human cultures. The idea of dinosaurs with complex behaviors and intelligence leads us to another fascinating possibility. Could they have developed some form of communication? We already see that modern birds, the closest living relatives of dinosaurs, have intricate vocalizations and social structures. Could dinosaurs have developed a more sophisticated means of communication, like vocal calls or even gestures, to coordinate with one another or to warn of danger? Perhaps they would have developed rudimentary tools to help them in everyday life, like using rocks to crack open tough plant material or creating shelters to protect themselves from the elements. As we continue to imagine this world where dinosaurs are still alive, it's fascinating to consider how they might have adapted to the changing world around them. Would they have migrated to new continents as the Earth's climate changed over millions of years? Would they have crossed paths with humans in new and unexpected ways? Could we have formed a symbiotic relationship with them? Or would we have had to compete for resources as dominant species on the planet? In many ways, it's a world full of unknowns, but one thing is certain: the survival and evolution of dinosaurs would have created a very different Earth than the one we know today. In this final part, let's take a step back and reflect on the broader implications of dinosaurs still walking the Earth today. It's easy to imagine a world where these incredible creatures never went extinct. But the question is, how would they have shaped our history? If dinosaurs had continued to live alongside early humans, would our species have been able to rise to the level of dominance we enjoy today? It's possible that humans would have had to evolve in very different ways, with our early ancestors possibly evolving with the need to be more agile, more strategic, or more communal in order to survive in a world filled with these towering predators. One of the biggest questions in this what-if scenario is whether we, as humans, could have learned to coexist with dinosaurs. Could we have found ways to domesticate some species, like we did with horses or dogs, or would we have lived in constant fear of being hunted down by a Tyrannosaurus rex, or outmaneuvered by a pack of velociraptors? Perhaps some species of herbivorous dinosaurs could have been tamed and used for labor, like oxen or elephants today, while others would have remained wild and dangerous. In such a world, maybe our society would have developed entirely new technologies for defense or communication, possibly even creating early warning systems for dinosaur attacks or building stronger structures to protect ourselves from their power. If we look to the past for clues, we see that early humans were already learning to live alongside wild animals, even in the most dangerous of situations. But dinosaurs, with their size and strength, would have presented an entirely new challenge. Could we have developed early forms of domestication for them, like herding certain species to help with farming or transportation? Imagine having a herd of triceratops pulling plows, or a trained pack of raptors helping with hunting. While it's an exciting thought, it also raises the question of how the ecosystems would have balanced out, and whether the sheer number of large predators might have created a more dangerous environment for humans than we would have been prepared for. Another possibility is that dinosaurs might have developed a type of cultural society, similar to what we see in certain species today, like elephants or dolphins with their size, intelligence, and social structures. It's conceivable that some dinosaurs might have formed groups that could rival human communities in their complexity. These societies would likely have been built around resources like food, territory, and protection from larger predators. Could these societies have been as advanced as human civilizations? It's impossible to say for sure, but it's a fascinating thought to consider. As we reach the end of this journey into the world of what if, we can't help but realize that the continued existence of dinosaurs would have fundamentally changed the course of life on Earth. Their presence would have altered the course of evolution for many species, including our own. It would have created a planet filled with immense diversity, with the possibility of dinosaurs evolving in ways we could never have imagined. Some might have developed new technologies, new forms of communication, or even new ways of interacting with the Earth and its resources. And who knows, maybe humans and dinosaurs could have even learned to work together, creating a partnership that no one could have predicted. The world of dinosaurs never going extinct is a truly wild thought experiment, one that raises questions about survival, adaptation, and the paths evolution might have taken. In this alternate reality, dinosaurs might still roam the Earth today, influencing everything from the plants and animals we interact with to the very way we live our lives. It's a reminder of how unpredictable and amazing the forces of nature and evolution truly are. Thanks for taking this journey into the world of dinosaurs with me. It's been an exciting thought experiment, and I hope it's got you thinking about the possibilities of what might have been. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the what if of dinosaur survival, be sure to leave a comment below with your own thoughts. Would you want to live in a world with dinosaurs, or would you prefer a world without them? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Dinosaurs have always captured our imagination with their massive sizes and mysterious lifestyles. When you think about them, it's easy to picture towering creatures like the long-necked Brachiosaurus or the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, all roaming the Earth millions of years ago. These ancient giants didn't just impress us with their size, they also had incredibly long lives. But which one lived the longest? That's the question we're going to dive into today. To start, we need to look at how we figure out the lifespan of dinosaurs. Unlike modern animals, we can't just track them and count the years. Instead, scientists rely on fossil records to piece together a rough idea of how long different species may have lived. Fossils can reveal a lot about a dinosaur's age at the time of death, but it's still a tough task. Some fossils are better preserved than others, and sometimes we'd only have bits and pieces to work with, making the whole process a bit like solving a puzzle. There's also the challenge of how to define what we mean by longest lived. Are we talking about the average lifespan of a species, or the oldest individual ever recorded? Most dinosaurs had a pretty wide range in how long they lived, depending on their size, diet, and environment. Smaller dinosaurs like Compsognathus likely didn't live very long, while the bigger species, like sauropods, lived much longer lives. In this video, we're going to focus on those massive creatures and see which ones could have lived the longest. One group of dinosaurs that were particularly long-lived were the sauropods. These long-necked, plant-eating dinosaurs lived during the Mesozoic era, particularly in the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. The biggest of them all, like Argentinosaurus, weighed as much as 70 tons and could grow to over 100 feet long. Despite their size, scientists believe some of these giants could have lived for up to 100 years or more. That's an incredibly long time for a creature of such massive proportions, and it's a key reason why sauropods are often considered the longest-lived dinosaurs. Another factor that influenced how long some dinosaurs lived was their growth rate. In general, larger animals tend to have slower growth rates, which can contribute to longer lifespans. For example, the Brachiosaurus, a close relative to the Argentinosaurus, also had a slower growth rate and a longer life. Some scientists even suggest that these dinosaurs may have lived longer than the smaller species because of their slow metabolism and steady pace of growth, allowing them to reach impressive sizes over their lifetimes. But even among these giants, there are many different species with their own unique traits and lifespans. For instance, the Stegosaurus, with its spiky tail and large plates along its back, had a completely different lifestyle and lifespan compared to its long-necked cousins. While we don't have exact numbers for all species, it's likely that the Stegosaurus lived a bit shorter life than the sauropods, given its smaller size and quicker growth rate. In the next part of our journey, we'll take a closer look at another group of ancient giants, the massive prehistoric mammals that roamed the earth after the dinosaurs. These creatures, like woolly mammoths and giant ground sloths, also had impressive lifespans, and their existence in the Ice Age adds an interesting layer to our search for the longest-lived creature. So, stick with me as we uncover more about these remarkable ancient beings. As we continue our exploration of ancient giants, we shift our focus from the towering dinosaurs to another group of massive creatures, the prehistoric mammals that roamed the earth long after the dinosaurs were gone. While dinosaurs ruled the land during the Mesozoic era, the mammals took over in the following ages. These creatures, from woolly mammoths to giant ground sloths, also had remarkable lifespans, and some could live much longer than you'd expect for animals of their size. Let's begin with the woolly mammoth, one of the most well-known creatures from the Ice Age. These massive mammals were closely related to today's elephants. They were covered in thick fur, had long curved tusks, and were built to survive in the harsh, cold climates. Woolly mammoths lived in northern regions, where they adapted to the freezing temperatures by growing large amounts of fur and having a thick layer of fat to keep them warm. Scientists estimate that woolly mammoths lived for around 60 to 80 years, which is impressive considering their size. Just like today's elephants, they grew slowly and had long lives, but the cold environments they lived in posed unique challenges. Despite that, these giants thrived for thousands of years, roaming vast landscapes in herds and leaving behind fossilized remains that help scientists understand their lifestyles. Their ability to survive in such extreme conditions shows just how resilient these creatures were. Another giant from the Ice Age was the giant ground sloth, which lived in North and South America during the Pleistocene epoch. These enormous sloths were far bigger than the ones we see today, reaching lengths of up to 20 feet, and their size made them one of the most unique creatures of their time. These sloths were herbivores, and likely fed on the leaves of tall trees, moving slowly across the land in search of food. Their slow movements were part of what made them so special, and it's believed that they lived long lives, although estimating their exact lifespan is more difficult due to the lack of detailed fossil records. Some estimates suggest that the giant ground sloths lived for around 30 to 40 years, which, while shorter than the woolly mammoth, still shows that these creatures had time to grow and thrive in their environment. The giant ground sloth is also thought to have been a relatively solitary animal, which means that, like many large animals, it didn't have the same social structures that might have influenced its lifespan. However, it was well adapted to its environment, with strong claws and a robust body that allowed it to survive for many decades. Then we have the Irish elk, a massive herbivorous mammal that roamed parts of Europe and Asia during the Pleistocene epoch. Known for its enormous antlers, which could span up to 12 feet from tip to tip, the Irish elk was another giant that lived for several decades. It's believed that the average lifespan of the Irish elk was around 30 to 40 years, similar to that of the giant ground sloth. Despite their size and impressive antlers, these creatures were herbivores feeding on vegetation in the grasslands and forests. Their size and impressive features made them one of the most fascinating animals of the Ice Age. Now, while these ancient mammals had their own remarkable lifespans, it's important to note that the largest mammals of all, whales, also have impressive lifespans that are much longer than those of the woolly mammoth, giant ground sloth, or Irish elk. The bowhead whale, for example, can live for up to 245 years, making it one of the longest living animals on Earth. While the bowhead whale isn't strictly from the same time period as these ancient mammals, it's important to mention it because it highlights the fascinating range of lifespans among massive creatures. Even in today's world, the bowhead whale continues to live for centuries, adapting to changing oceans and environments, showing just how extraordinary some ancient giants can be. In our next part, we'll dive deeper into the bowhead whale and its remarkable longevity. We'll explore how this creature has lived for centuries, and how it compares to other ancient giants, including dinosaurs. Stay with me as we continue to uncover the secrets of these incredible creatures and their long lives, as we shift gears from the ancient mammals to the towering world of the dinosaurs. We step into an era that stretched across millions of years. Dinosaurs, with their incredible variety and size, are some of the most fascinating creatures to ever walk the earth. But when it comes to determining which of these giants had the longest lifespan, there's more than meets the eye. The first group of dinosaurs that comes to mind when we think about longevity are the sauropods. These long-necked, plant-eating giants dominated the landscape during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. They could grow to sizes unimaginable to modern animals, with some reaching lengths of up to 100 feet or more. Some of the most famous sauropods include Argentinosaurus, Brachiosaurus, and Apatosaurus. Argentinosaurus, one of the largest sauropods ever discovered, is thought to have lived for an impressive amount of time. Scientists believe that these massive creatures could have lived for up to 100 years. With their long necks, they were able to reach the treetops to feed on vegetation and could grow incredibly large. But their size wasn't the only thing that set them apart. Sauropods had slower metabolisms, which likely contributed to their long lifespans. This slower growth rate allowed them to take their time developing into the enormous creatures they became. Not only did these sauropods live for decades, but they were also incredibly resilient. Their slow growth may have been a factor in their longevity, as they did not need to rush through life to reach their adult sizes. Over the course of their lives, these giants experienced massive changes in their environments, from shifts in the Earth's continents to changes in climate. Despite this, they were able to thrive for such a long period, showing just how adaptable they were. But sauropods weren't the only dinosaurs that lived long lives. There's also evidence suggesting that some theropod dinosaurs, like the famous Tyrannosaurus rex, may have had relatively long lifespans for their size. The T-Rex, which lived during the late Cretaceous period, could have lived for up to 30 years or more. While this might seem short compared to the lifespan of a sauropod, it's still impressive for such a large predator. The T-Rex had a complex social structure and hunting strategies which likely influenced how long it lived. However, the T-Rex was not the only predatory dinosaur with a lengthy life. Other theropods like the velociraptor had shorter lifespans, but they were still remarkable for their time. Interestingly, there are a number of factors that influence how long dinosaurs lived, and many of these factors still remain a mystery to scientists. Was it their size that helped them live longer, or was it their environment? Did some species have faster metabolisms that led to shorter lives, or did they have slower metabolisms like the sauropods that helped them live for decades? The truth is, it's likely a combination of factors, from diet and environmental changes to genetics and behavior. One of the key challenges in determining the lifespan of dinosaurs is the limited fossil record. While we have an impressive number of fossils, many species are still waiting to be discovered, and the evidence we have doesn't always give us the full picture. It's also tough to estimate the lifespan of a dinosaur based solely on bones, as there are many factors at play. However, scientists have been able to use growth rings in bones and teeth to help estimate the age of these creatures. This method allows paleontologists to get a clearer idea of how long certain dinosaurs may have lived and how they grew over time. As we continue to explore the world of these prehistoric giants, we'll start to see how the environment and the dinosaurs themselves played a role in their lifespans. It's clear that, like modern animals, dinosaurs had to adapt to survive. Whether they lived in lush forests, open plains, or near water sources, each environment offered its own challenges and rewards for these ancient creatures. Some dinosaurs may have faced constant threats from predators or changing climates, while others may have had more stable environments that allowed them to grow old and thrive. So, which dinosaur lived the longest? Based on what we know about sauropods and other large dinosaurs, the answer might surprise you. As we continue our journey, we'll discover the species that likely held the title of the longest-lived dinosaur. But before we get to that, let's take a moment to think about how scientists continue to uncover new details about these fascinating creatures. Through ongoing research, new discoveries, and advances in technology, we're constantly learning more about the lives of these ancient giants. Stay tuned as we wrap up our search for the dinosaur that lived the longest. As we near the end of our journey into the world of ancient giants, it's time to focus on what we've learned and uncover which species of dinosaur might have lived the longest. While it's still a challenge to pinpoint the exact dinosaur that held the title, scientists have narrowed it down by looking at different factors like fossil evidence and growth patterns. From the towering sauropods to the powerful theropods, each dinosaur had its own unique life story, but there is one that stands out for its longevity. The species that likely holds the crown for the longest-lived dinosaur is the Shunnosaurus. While it may not be as well known as the towering Argentinosaurus, the Shunnosaurus is part of a group of sauropods that scientists have been studying for years. This dinosaur is believed to have lived for around 75 to 80 years, which is significant considering its size and the challenges it faced. Like many sauropods, the Shunnosaurus had a slower growth rate, which would have contributed to its long life. These dinosaurs took their time to grow, reaching maturity at a much older age than smaller species, and their slow metabolism allowed them to survive in a world full of predators and environmental changes. What makes the Shunnosaurus particularly interesting is how it navigated through the changing landscapes of the late Jurassic period. It lived in what is now China, where the environment was full of dense forests, lakes, and rivers. The Shunnosaurus was a herbivore, feeding on the abundant plant life, which likely contributed to its longevity. With its long neck, it could reach high branches and consume a wide variety of vegetation, giving it the resources needed to thrive. The Shunnosaurus wasn't just a survivor, it was a master of its environment, capable of living a long life despite the challenges it faced. But the Shunnosaurus isn't the only dinosaur that lived a long life. Another contender for the longest-lived dinosaur title is the Apatosaurus, another sauropod that roamed North America during the late Jurassic period. The Apatosaurus was similar in size and lifestyle to the Shunnosaurus, but scientists believe it could have lived for up to 70 years. The Apatosaurus was an herbivore that thrived in the lush wooded environments of what is now the western United States. This dinosaur was well adapted to its surroundings and had the necessary traits to survive for decades, from its powerful legs to its long neck, which helped it reach high vegetation. While sauropods like the Shunnosaurus and Apatosaurus were certainly some of the longest-lived dinosaurs, it's important to note that other factors such as the environment and diet could have influenced their longevity. For instance, the Triceratops, a horned herbivorous dinosaur, is thought to have lived for around 30 years, which, while shorter than the sauropods, is still a relatively long life for a dinosaur of its size. The Triceratops had to deal with the constant threat of predators like the Tyrannosaurus rex, which likely shortened its life expectancy. Yet, its ability to defend itself with its large horns and frill helped it survive in the dangerous Cretaceous period. One thing is certain, the lifespan of a dinosaur was determined by a complex mix of factors, including its size, environment, and the threats it faced. The longest-lived dinosaurs, like the Shunnosaurus and Apatosaurus, were well adapted to their ecosystems, where they could take their time growing and thriving. While it's hard to say with absolute certainty which dinosaur lived the longest, the evidence suggests that these giants had the longevity to rival many modern animals. Our understanding of dinosaur lifespans continues to evolve as scientists make new discoveries and advancements in technology. The use of new techniques like studying growth rings in bones and examining fossilized teeth has provided us with more accurate estimates of how long these creatures lived. With each new finding, we're able to piece together more of the puzzle of ancient life, revealing just how remarkable these creatures were. In the end, whether it's the slow-growing sauropods or the resilient herbivores like the Triceratops, dinosaurs lived for much longer than we once thought. The Shunnosaurus, with its 75 to 80-year lifespan, stands out as the longest-lived dinosaur we know of today, but there may still be more to discover. As scientists continue to explore the fossil record, we may uncover new species with even longer lifespans. Until then, the giants of the Mesozoic era will remain an awe-inspiring reminder of just how incredible life on Earth can be. So, which dinosaur do you think had the longest life? Do you think there are others out there that might rival the Shunnosaurus or Apatosaurus? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you'd like to dive deeper into the world of dinosaurs, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing facts and discoveries.